Charlie Munger, a close friend and associate of Warren Buffett, has made a fair share of controversial and disturbing predictions this year. Like a steamroller, he went over cryptocurrencies, playing big on Wall Street, recession, inflation, and so on. Being a vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, Mr. Munger certainly knows a thing or two about business and finance. And it's time for us to look closer at everything Charlie Munger has said and find out what's happening in the world, where everything's going, and how a very successful investor plans on earning another huge pile of money. What I want to focus on today are the cryptocurrencies. A 98-year-old investor has certainly seen this life, but his public opinions have been far from modern. Buffett is known for his ultra-cautious approach to investing, particularly in the market's hottest sectors such as fintech. During an annual shareholder meeting, which took place on May 1st in Omaha, Munger and Buffett both said a lot of unpleasant things about Bitcoin. Munger's thoughts were rather measured. He said, and I quote, "In my life, I try to avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad, and Bitcoin does all three." Then he did elaborate a bit by saying, "In the first place, it's stupid because it's likely to go to zero," he said. "It's evil because it undermines the Federal Reserve System, and third, it makes us look foolish compared to the communist leader in China. He was smart enough to ban Bitcoin in China." Buffett, on the other hand, was far more talkative and said this: "If you told me you own all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for 25 bucks, I wouldn't take it because what would I do with it? I would have to sell it back to you one way or another. It isn't going to do anything." In another interview, Munger asserted that just because something is scarce and difficult to make more of, that isn't a compelling reason to own it. He added that stocks, which represent pieces of real businesses and claims their profits, are a far superior investment. Well, it is important to point out that older investors like Munger or Buffett are very conservative and rely on cash a lot. During the same meeting, Buffett said, "Cash is
It's like oxygen, it's there all the time, but if it disappears for a few minutes, it's all over."
Berkshire Hathaway historically hasn't been an admirer of tech companies. Even the Apple stock was purchased only in 2016. What's interesting is that Buffett and Munger consider Apple to be a consumer company. This may indicate that our prominent investors are somewhat slow to jump on the train, and in a few years, their thoughts of Bitcoin may change. Munger also predicts that the US dollar will likely go to zero value over the next century. This is not as crazy as it sounds. The US dollar has lost over 96% of its value since the Federal Reserve was founded. The US dollar has also lost 86% its value just since 1971, when the US left the gold standard. His prediction is almost a certainty based on the past trends of loss of purchasing power, as well as latest financial news. During and after COVID times, the US Treasury has printed almost $13 trillion, $5.2 trillion to fight COVID, $4.5 trillion for quantitative easing, and $3 trillion for building infrastructure. This should be a wake-up call of the long-term danger of inflation to saving accounts not invested in assets. Lots of his warnings center around inflation and the political instability it causes, well, a lot to consider. In February of 2022, when the inflation was starting to speed up, Charlie, in an interview to Yahoo Finance, has been asked about inflation and whether we should be afraid of it. To what he said,
"Inflation is a very serious subject. You can argue it's the way democracies die.
If you overdo it, you can ruin your civilization, so it's a long-range danger. It's probably the greatest danger we have, apart nuclear war." He said that in February, and the inflation has been skyrocketing ever since. This gives us a real reason to be worried about preserving the money we have and investing in stock that will help weather out this economic turmoil. Later, in July, when asked about the influence of inflation and investing, Munger said, "I'm always aware of it, but it doesn't stop me from operating. I don't pay much attention to macroeconomic trends. Like the weather, I just ignore the weather. I just try to invest whatever capital I have as best I can and take the results as they fall. I just seize whatever opportunities I can and I hope I get my share." He also points out that since March 2020, US Treasury has issued more than 40% of all US dollars to ever exist. From all Charlie has said, we can make one certain conclusion: interest rate hikes are on the way. If they go too high, crash. If they don't go up fast enough, high inflation followed by pissed off Americans. With all that negativity towards crypto and disturbing predictions of the world coming to an end, the question arises: how does Charlie actually invest and what assets does he hold? Over the years, Mr. Munger has created the aura of a person who believes in stocks, real estate, and nothing else. However, the SEC filing made it absolutely clear that all those anti-crypto claims may be false. It was revealed that Munger's and Buffett's company has purchased $1 billion worth of stock of a crypto-friendly bank called Nubank. This new bank is a new type of neobanks that operates like conventional banks. It focuses on digital services instead of physical locations. Berkshire was not only cutting its investments in the crypto sphere, but noticeably decreasing some of the traditional positions in the portfolio, like dropping $3 billion of Visa and MasterCard stocks. This may be a next step towards changing course and is definitely an indicator that Munger and Buffett are looking for a way to somehow connect the past they know with the future represented by crypto. Buffett and Munger have criticized crypto at various forums, but they are well aware of the technological advancements and role of crypto in shaping financial markets. It is not surprising that Munger is making indirect investments in crypto-friendly entities as he might not like it, but acknowledges its potential. Despite the outright distaste for the new age asset class, it is not the first time the Omaha-based conglomerate, led by the superstar investor duo, has dabbled in this market. They have made forays in the crypto sector via their companies in the portfolio. The US-based NBFC Bancorp launched a cryptocurrency custody service, followed by Bank of America, which launched a cryptocurrency research initiative, and BNY Mellon announced that it would hold, transfer, and issue Bitcoin and similar cryptocurrencies for its asset management clients. Munger is invested in all of them. Cryptocurrencies and blockchains are complicated to understand, and their sudden value drops may scare some investors, and thus many veterans like Buffett may refrain from making direct investments, but at the same time know, and many older investors like Munger may feel hesitant about investing in them. Charlie Munger is without a doubt a very smart investor with half a century of experience. He lived through countless recessions, inflation peaks, and world's crisis. He certainly knows what should be said publicly and what should be done. Loud words and open hatred towards Bitcoin are neighboring huge investments in the crypto sphere. Smells like someone is trying to keep all the wealth to himself, right, Charlie? Always watch what they're doing, not what they're saying. Okay, and what do you think? Is Charlie that sinister to fool honest people? Are his predictions valid? Type your thoughts in the comments below, smash that like button if you've learned something and enjoyed watching, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.